Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the 48th annual Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. This year, we're mostly on the internet. And this weekend, you can learn about some wonderful dog books and even hear some of them read. You can also purchase the ones you love the most. Some of the books on this playlist are more geared to adults, but most are children's books. Dogversations and this one, Chaser, are a bit different. Dogversations is a fun coffee table book about dogs talking. Chaser is a story of a South Carolina border collie who was so smart she set the world on fire. Her book is more of an adult book, but kids will enjoy meeting the smartest dog in the world. I hope a version for the younger set comes out soon. Until then, parents will just have to share. I'm Sky Anderson, and this year, 2021, we are christening the Year of the Dog, or sheepdog if you prefer, since border collies are more common than sheepdogs, Old English sheepdogs, that is. We picked a border collie book to chat about, Chaser. Chaser just may be the most famous border collie that ever lived. Chaser, smarter than the average toddler. But Coco, a gorilla, learned sign language. Alex, an African gray parrot who lived for 30 years, learned more than 100 words. But what about your best friend, the dog? How smart is he? I'm going to start this conversation with two questions, since the dog on the book cover seems to be listening intently for the answers. Question number one. How many words does your dog know? Treat, walk, car, sit, down, come, stay. That's 7 words. You may have heard that the average dog is as smart as the average 2-year-old. Well, Chaser is as smart as the average 3-year-old. I think even smarter. You also may have heard of the brainy border collie from Germany, Rico, who knew 200 words. But here is a book about border collie Chaser, who knew more than 1,000 words. That's right, more than 1,000. Question number 2. What do Time Magazine, Betty White, Anderson Cooper, 60 Minutes, ABC, CBS, NBC, Scientific American, the New York Times, and Neil deGrasse Tyson of Nova all have in common? They all love one dog, a border collie named Chaser, who is reported to be the smartest dog in the world because he knows 1,022 words, not to say them, but to understand them. Words like names of toys and verbs and people, and grammar as well. Chaser is also the title of a book by her owner, John Pilley, with Hilary Hintzman, which was published in 2013. Chaser the book quickly became a New York Times bestseller and #1 on Amazon. Chaser the dog was a Christmas present to the retired psychology professor. She was a beloved family pet and became a hobby and research project for the professor. Chaser the book is a fun, fast-reading story about a super smart puppy and her human family. The father ends up putting his psychology PhD to work in his 70s and 80s, training the pup. So you will learn how to raise a good, healthy puppy and how to train using the most positive reinforcement methods in the world. But it's not only a book for dog trainers. Chaser is also a family dog, a family book. Right now, you are probably asking yourself, but Sky, what about sheep? Well, fans, there is an entire chapter about Chaser's sheep herding work and fun, starting with her very first experience as a puppy. And can you imagine herding a bunch of sheep, several of them bigger than you are? Like all good border collies, Chaser had little to no interest in other dogs, just humans. Border collies have been bred for centuries to keep one eye on the sheep and one ear tuned in to the shepherd. Verbal instructions reinforce what the dog sees in sheep movements, so he can direct the sheep in a group to the shepherd or to go through a gate. This picture, however, is not a picture of Chaser chasing the sheep. Border Collies have an innate herding ability that only needs to be nurtured by the shepherd, and a good shepherd knows to respect each dog as an individual, a lesson we all need to learn when living with our own pet dogs. On page 126 of Chaser the book, we read, Chaser was 18 months old and so far had learned 700 proper noun object names. She easily learned 1 or 2 new proper noun toys a day without forgetting any of the old ones. The goal of Dr. Pilley's research was to test the boundaries of the canine mind. He stopped at 1,022 objects simply because he figured that was enough, but also because his wife Sally didn't want any more toys in the house. Does that sound familiar? Does your dog have too many toys? Can you even see Chaser in this photograph of all his toys? Actually, Dr. Pilley had to write each toy's name on the toy because even though Chaser the dog could remember which was which of the 1,000 toys, humans could not. Maybe we should call her Chaser the Brilliant. And would you believe that a blue racquetball was her favorite toy? She had hundreds of them, most of them stuck under the furniture in the Pilley house. That's the same as my house. There must be a magnet under every couch. Chaser the book is a highly readable psychology or training, teaching, educational book. Although one person's review on Amazon complained about so many paragraphs devoted to the story of Dr. Piller giving up cigarettes, that situation is an excellent example of using positive reinforcement in our daily life. Just as Dr. Pilley used positive reinforcement, reward-based methods to train Chaser. In summary, Chaser the book will both teach and entertain you, especially if you like dogs, especially if you like Border Collies. So, listeners, now that you've finished and you're dying to read Chaser, go ahead, head back to the playlist and view another book review or book author review. Happy reading.